All right, let's dive right into this explainer. You know how you can memorize 1,000 song lyrics without even trying, but you can't seem to break one simple bad habit? Well, today we're exploring something absolutely fascinating. We're going to look at how to update that invisible programming that is secretly running your life. We are breaking down a masterclass in mindset, drawn directly from the concepts of rewriting your internal narrative to unlock a life of true abundance. We're going to look at the exact mechanisms behind why we hold ourselves back, and more importantly, how to systematically rewrite the code of our own minds. If you are ready to stop playing small, you are in the exact right place.
I want you to think about something for just a second. Have you ever woken up and realized that tiny whisper in your head, the one telling you to stay safe, stay quiet, and play it small, might not actually belong to you? We walk around every single day making decisions based on a voice in our heads that we just assume is our own true voice. But what if it's just an echo? The source material we're looking at today makes a wild but incredibly powerful claim. The life you're living right now isn't just happening to you. You are actively creating it thought by thought. If you feel stuck, it's often because you're listening to an inherited script that you never actually chose to write.
So, let's kick things off with Section 1. Your outdated autopilot system. It turns out we completely misunderstand self-sabotage. Imagine opening your mind like a giant computer folder. You'd find all these old files and rules from childhood that quietly dictate exactly who you're allowed to be. See, your subconscious mind, it's not your enemy. It's actually just an autopilot system. It's kind of like an overprotective bodyguard. Think about it. Over the years, it has recorded every single disappointment, every embarrassing moment, and fears passed down through generations. It took all of that data and created rules like, don't speak up or you'll be judged, or dreams are dangerous because failure hurts. It is literally operating on old, outdated information just to protect you. And because of that, there's a massive conflict happening inside you every single day. Your conscious mind wants you to be happy. It wants you to grow and thrive. But your subconscious, it honestly doesn't care if you're happy. It only cares that you survive. It writes this invisible script that keeps you small. It tells you exactly how much money you're allowed to earn, how much love you can receive, and how much joy you can feel. It is choosing for you half the time. But the incredibly empowering takeaway here is that anything that was programmed can be reprogrammed.
Moving right along to Section 2, the radical power of self-love.
Now, forget the soft cliches for a second here. The source defines radical self-love as something way more intense. This isn't just about sitting in front of a mirror and repeating sweet lines to yourself. It's the bold clarity that you absolutely deserve to take up space. It's recognizing that your flaws humanize you rather than disqualify you from greatness. Most people fail because deep down, they don't actually believe they deserve success. They tolerate disrespect and stay in draining environments because their internal baseline says, I'm not enough. Radical self-love is an action. It means finally setting boundaries with that one friend who only takes, or choosing ambition without feeling guilty about it.
So how do we actually do this? Well, the strategy breaks down into 3 clear steps. First up is awareness. You've got to notice those thoughts that pop up when you try something new. Second, create some distance. When an excuse sounds logical but feels super limiting, stop and ask yourself, wait, whose voice is this? Is this really mine? And finally, take control. Reprogramming isn't about forced positivity, it's all about consistency. When you use affirmations and daily repetition, you're speaking the actual language of the subconscious. You feed your mind new instructions until they become your new normal. And eventually, your mind stops fighting you and starts supporting you.
Which brings us to Section 3. Using fear as a compass.
So, here's an absolutely crucial point. Fear isn't a signal to turn back. Fear loves to disguise itself as logic, whispering things like, hey, what if you fail? Or what are people going to think? But once you recognize your worth, you start seeing fear for what it truly is. It's a marker. It shows you the exact boundary between the life you currently have and the life you actually want. It means you're standing at the doorway of something bigger than your current identity. It is not a stop sign, folks. It is an arrow pointing directly to exactly where you need to grow. Just look at the stark difference between hesitation and movement. When you hesitate, you're buying into those whispers and you stay stagnant.
But when you move, when you take bold action in spite of that fear, you're teaching your mind a brand new truth. The source material emphasizes something amazing. The universe doesn't respond to fear, it responds to movement. You don't need to be ready, you just need to be willing. Every single courageous decision you make shrinks the voice of fear while amplifying possibility. You tell your brain, I can handle this, and suddenly your reality begins to shift.
All right, let's jump into Section 4, Tuning Your Energy Frequency.
The source material uses this brilliant analogy that seriously shifted my perspective. Think of your energy as a radio frequency. It's pretty simple. You cannot receive signals of abundance if you're tuned to the frequency of lack. If you're tuned to fear, you simply cannot receive opportunities that require confidence. This is the simplest form of the law of attraction. When you are fearful or insecure, your energy contracts and closes off possibilities. But when you are bold and aligned, your energy expands. Your external world only shifts when your internal frequency aligns with your desires. You have to match the energy of what you want before it can arrive.
And because energy is highly contagious, we can essentially break down the people and spaces in our lives into two distinct categories: energy drainers and energy multipliers. If you sit with 5 negative people who just complain and shrink, guess what? You're going to become the 6th. But if you sit with motivated people who are learning and evolving, you will naturally rise to their level. You have to aggressively curate your environment and protect your growth from spaces and even mental content that pull you down.
Now, this concept of energy directly translates to our relationship with wealth. Money is one of the most emotionally charged energies in our entire lives, usually tied up with fear, shame, or guilt. We grew up hearing stuff like, money doesn't grow on trees, right? But look at this shift in perspective. Money is simply a tool. It's a resource, an amplifier. It literally just expands who you already are. If you're a kind person, it helps you help others. The source emphasizes that money flows to those who believe they are worthy of receiving it. Worthiness isn't something you earn, it's something you claim. When you shift your mindset from I can't afford this to how can I afford this, your entire reality adjusts.
Finally, we arrive at Section 5, Habits of the New You. This right here is such a profound shift in perspective. Stepping into your purpose isn't some dramatic, cinematic movie moment where the clouds suddenly part. It starts quietly. It starts just by noticing what energizes you instead of what drains you. Most people silence their true calling because they're terrified they aren't ready. But the truth is, purpose doesn't wait for you to be ready, it waits for you to be honest. It requires admitting what you truly want without any fear of judgment and letting that passion become the fuel that drives you forward. But here's the catch. Passion only becomes fuel through daily consistency. Transformation doesn't come from a huge decision you make once. It comes from small decisions you make every single day. By using these exact tools, affirmations, journaling, meditation, focused action, gratitude, and setting boundaries, you systematically tell your subconscious exactly who you are now. Every single time you practice one of these habits, you're affirming your worth. You are cementing the new code into your mind until the old patterns completely lose their power.
I want to leave you with this final thought. You are the director of this movie. Your life is not just a series of random events happening to you, it's a reflection of your inner world. So are you going to keep living on autopilot, or will you intentionally write the script you actually deserve? You don't have to wait for permission anymore, you just have to give it to yourself.